Let's review a simple purchase order example, then the steps to receive inventory, also known as goods receipt or goods receipt note. Depending on the business process, the supplier invoice may arrive at a later date, so we will also show the steps to create the supplier invoice by assigning the products received. Next, we show the steps to pay the invoice and allocate the payment. This process is an important control check within the business to ensure that payments are only made for products received. From the Costbucket dashboard, click on Supplier Orders, then in the top right corner click on Create a Purchase Order. Select the supplier and delivery location, and if known, include the purchase order requisition number. Select the product being purchased and add it to the cart. Make note of whether or not the product is purchased as a batch or unit, as this impacts the total quantity purchased and order unit quantity. In this example, the mini patties are ordered in a batch and each batch has 25 units. So the order quantity of 10 will have 250 units of patties being received at $2.5 per patty. This process is also available in the Cost Accounting module under Purchases. The employees confirm receipt by returning to the supplier icon on the dashboard, where they will see the list of all open orders. Click on the button Receive, then input the batch quantity or individual units received for each product, then click Receive Order. This will automatically update the inventory in Costbucket, including cost per unit and quantity. Next, we review the processing of the supplier invoice by assigning the products received to the invoice. Click on Cost Accounting, then on the left menu select Manage Suppliers within the Purchases module. Click on the supplier, then on the top menu select Purchase Order Invoice and input the reference number and search for the products listed on the invoice. Once the products are identified, add them to the invoice and the total invoice value should match the invoice from the supplier. Confirm the prices are aligned. If there are differences, then process the invoice. Finally, we then process the payment of the invoice by returning to Manage Suppliers, then click on the supplier and select Payments on the top menu. Select the payment method, that is, the bank account or card account which the payment will deduct from, the payment type, and any applicable references. Then input the payment value. Then return to the menu and select Allocate Payments and search for the invoice or invoices to allocate the payments. Next, we allocate the payment of the invoice by returning to Manage Suppliers, then click on the supplier and select Allocate Payments. Then return to the menu and select Allocate Payments and search for the invoice or invoices to allocate the payments. Use the Allocate Balance checkbox to pay off the entire invoice balance or individually add a value in this Allocate Payment field. There is a control check at the bottom, which should be 0 in order to process the allocations. This finalizes the step-by-step inventory process from purchase order to payment of the invoice.